Hey everybody, it's Bust with Expedition Trial number 412. Let's see who shows up here. And interesting, I didn't realize these uh, cards like Ixtali Sentinel and Burgeoning Sentinel were down in Death's Door. These Darkness cards, I only assumed up to this point that the Darkness cards just lived within the two. Um, what are they called? The two, I guess, Darkness card pools. The Senna and the Vagar. Quite interesting seeing both the Sentinel and uh, the Sentinel and the Sentinel, the Darkness Generator and the new Spell Slay guy living in Death's Door. That's quite neat. Yeah, but nonetheless, we will skip over this Thresh. We're going to come down here and take this Caitlyn today. If you are out here looking for your 7, it's kind of debatable as to whether the Caitlyn's better or not than the Ashe. I tend to not like Ashe in the first pack since she's a Freylord only champion and she really wants to be stacked up in Freylord, so you can kind of get stuck in the second pack without a good pairing. Also, kind of sucks they took a lot of the Avarosian Trappers out of Expedition, which was not the Trapper, the Avarosian Outrider, the Allegiance unit, which was quite good in the Ashe decks. And so, if this was like a second pack and you started with Freylord, then Ashe would be much stronger. It's just when we don't know what we're having show up in the second pack, it's a little bit worse. So, this Caitlyn set is fine. I've been hoping to get to piece together some of these other Bandle City cards to pair this in with Caitlyn. So we'll see what shows up as far as these are concerned. But nonetheless, let's get her pulled up on the site real quick. If you're not familiar, we're just over here at ftpbus.com. That's where I keep all of my expedition-related content. We're just over on the Expedition Helper. We'll make our way to the Caitlyn card pool. Big old bunch of stuff going on here, but let's take a look at what's happening. This technically isn't like a super huge card pool. The way this works is this is technically a Piltover only card pool. So we'll see these cards like Ambush and Clump of Wumps in the Piltover side. But if you do go and pick up a Bandle City champion, then a lot of these cards will activate, like the Aloof Travelers, whatever these other various build the Bandle City cards are, like the Benone. So, nonetheless, the way that this Caitlyn deck typically works is I don't think the traps alone are enough to be chasing after. I should say that the Flashbang traps aren't enough. If you're really looking to take advantage of Caitlyn, you need to have the puff caps going along in your deck as well. And that kind of leads us to this kind of odd chicken and egg kind of situation as to where if we don't have a lot going on with Caitlyn, then we typically just want Teemo. We would rather just be generating puff caps and having that really high valued threat coming out of Teemo. But if we do have a lot of the puff cap generators, mainly the peddlers, then we kind of want to push away from Teemo and slide over into being a Caitlyn deck. It's a little counterintuitive, but I feel like you don't need to stack like super heavily onto puff caps, and so Teemo becomes just like a little bit unnecessary. But we'll touch on that a little bit more should those things arise. Kind of the other things you can look to do with Caitlyn here are push into elusives, where we can try and stack Sting Officers, we can try and stack the Kyrie and Sump Worker out of Piltover, and then we can look to another faction to try and pick up some of the other elusives, whether or not that is Ionia or Bilgewater. And then this also plays well as just kind of the really aggressive style deck, to where we're trying to, say, pair this up with Noxus for like a scrap heap kind of pairing, and then really take advantage of the early game aggression between cards like Clump of Wumps, the 3/1 quick attacker for 2, and Caitlyn. Just a very powerful and aggressive early game style of cards. And so if you're out here drafting this on your own and don't really know what's happening, feel free to just try and pick up a Bilgewater card and then take everything that says Puff Cap or Flash Bomb on it. But do know that there are a few other options depending on what shows up. And this is kind of very similar to this Ashe card pools, to where she doesn't naturally pair into Bandle City, so we aren't guaranteed to see Bandle City in the second pack. So as we see here, we do not see Bandle City, and so this one is kind of interesting. I think we're probably just stuck trying to push over into this aggro deck with the Sion. this should technically be able to piece this together in like a scrap heap style deck. That would be the kind of discard centric deck. That's typically a pairing with Draven and Jinx, Draven and Jinx, but being in the same factions is kind of okay, and then having some of the discard outlets here with the Sion cards can be quite nice. And then even if we don't like fully get these themes together, you can see things like Roar of the Slayer wanting us to discard cards. These discard effects work fantastically with cards like Chump Wump and Clump of Wumps, just being able to discard the Mushroom Clouds for quite a bit of value. And so I think that will be the place we want to take this. There are, a few other options. The Braum could be kind of interesting, but Ice Shard tends to kill off a lot of our own units over here in Piltover, and then Leona wants to just be a Leona-centric build around. So I do believe that just leaves us over here with this Sion. So let's take a moment and pull him up as well. So yeah, he does lead us to be in this really big discard heavy deck, which does work out well with the puff caps, right? If we're using cards like, oh, that's so weird seeing Group Shot and Bandle Painter in here. I forget that these actually live in this card pool. I had to call that question out the other day because these aren't actually Noxus cards, but. Nonetheless, we have things like Roar of the Slayer that works well with the puff caps, and then if we can put together discard cards like Rummage, having the typical discard things like Fallen Rider along with the puff caps is quite good. The second kind of interesting thing that we see with these is if you get into like a really puff cap peddler centric deck, you tend to not be able to win combats after like the 6th or the 7th turn, because like literally the biggest unit in your deck is a 3/3. And so if you start including like big 6/6s that don't have Overwhelm, they tend to not really do anything. And so things like Sion, Ancient Warmonger could be kind of interesting as ways to close out a game. They're also kind of interesting if we end up in a more like elusive centric deck and we're say discarding the Warmongers to give an elusive +2 attack. Lots of interesting little things that we could piece together that way. But to kind of give you a little peek at the way that these decks are meant to work, over here on the Draven side, Draven is kind of the core build around to any scrap heap deck, generating the spinning axis for the discards. And then over here, you typically use things like Blade Squire to have your discardable cards. Here we'll be looking at puff caps, and then if we pull up something like Jinx in Scrap Heap, we can see cards like Time Winder, where we discard a card to get some kind of effect. Zonite Urchin and Sump Dredger tend to be the really big value ones, and so these are the kind of ideas. Lots of cyclical kind of abilities here. If we can hopefully pick up some like Scrap Heap packs here at the beginning. And so this one is kind of tough. I think I want to just come in and take the discard cards. I really worry about our ability to put together one of these puff cap centric decks, but this is another deck that I'm really kind of fond of. Is it's just this like really ultra aggressive puff caps deck that we typically look at with Teemo. But this is like such a good start for those early game aggressive decks, just starting out with the 1-drops. I think that's the way I'm going to take this. It's kind of like leaning towards this Roar of the Slayer, but we kind of need like a lot to go right for this this style of deck to come together, to whereas over here just having these early game aggressives just kind of gets us right on track as far as the aggressive PNZ Noxus deck goes. All right, well, these cards are turds. We don't want any of this Ionia stuff. These aren't on theme with anything we're doing. Kind of the same with the Calculated Creations Trail of Evidence. They don't have any of those themes we're trying to pull off. And so Armored Tusk Raider is a fantastic game closer, even though probably never be able to draw a card with the Assessor. We're just going to have to be happy with the Tusk Raider pickup. Okay. Well, the Great Physician is a nice little addition here, and then even if we do just end up in this aggressive centric deck, Fallen Rider is a fantastic aggressive unit. I'm not a huge fan of Station Archivist in this style of deck, even though the Stinky Wump is a powerful 1-drop. I'm going to go with the 2s down here, since we haven't like completely solidified the direction this deck is going to go in. Okay, well here, the cloning program set is okay. We can definitely activate these augments if we find some more of the puff cap generators. At this point, I mean, we passed on the 1, the single clump of wumps that we saw. It was like a pick 3, and so we may not be seeing too many of these puff cap cards show up, but it's typically not too tough to activate these augment units. Okay, and then which one is some fumes? 2 to a unit. If you've added cards, deal 3. Very, very strong removal spell, but I'm looking towards the Hopeful and the Thorn of the Rose here. The Thorn of the Rose, just aggressive unit, gives us a discardable card. It gives us a generated card for the augments we just picked up. Very on theme kind of bro. Very on theme bro here. Okay, kind of the same deal with the Sump Dredger. Good to see these scrappy packs showing up, even though this is a wild pick. Hopefully that will be something working its way into our cards here. Okay, well, here we go. Mushroom Cloud Advanced Intel may be the actual worst pack you could ever get in the game. These cards are just horrifically unplayable. This is wild. I've never seen these two together. I'm trying to think. I mean, the only way you can really get worse is if you're starting to add in like Ascended Rises to packs like this. But nonetheless, we're going to take the Grenadier with Weapons of the Lost. I'm not a huge fan of the Grenadier, but the Weapons of the Lost continues to grow on me as a nice removal spell and unit generator. Okay, well here, Mystic Shot with the Investigator is quite good. Just another really early game aggressive set of cards. Okay, this is tough. I would love to pick up the Rebel and the Physician, but I think we have to pick up the Mushroom Cloud now that it's actually shown up. So we'll take the early aggressive stack there. Here, another fairly weak set of cards. I can typically be like kind of okay with Chempunk Shredders. Just a nice little way to come in and clear out a board after we've made a bunch of early game aggressive attacks. We haven't picked up too many of the Flash Bomb generators either, but it can work well with those. Hopefully we can piece together something useful there, because it looks like we're going to be shredding. With our second Veteran Investigator, I think that's a reasonable take. Okay, and then our last one here. So we are pretty light on spells. I would love to be able to pick up this Savage Reckoner, but I think our top end is kind of okay as far as this style of deck goes. And so if we're getting a Reckless Trifarian, I'm going to pick up the one that has the removal spell attached to it. We haven't picked up any removal up to this point except for the Mystic Shot, and so we got to have something in here. Okay, and then it does this quite often. I think the game has a tough time deciding if you're actually in a Sion deck, and it tends to want to let you trade away Sion at every opportunity. It's like I'm tempted to trade him away just to like make this trade pick stop happening. He's not that much better than Darius, but if we're only going to get 2 trade picks for the remainder of the trial, that's kind of annoying. So I'm going to let this stay. I really want to pick up this Clump of Wumps, and the Reborn Grenadier is pretty garbagey. But I'm going to keep that in mind for the future here if we can't go and just trade out that Sion so we don't have to deal with this trade showing up every time. But all right. We do have to go and turn something premium. The Grenadier just got cycled out, so that's going to leave us with this Noble Rebel here. I know we have 1 copy in our deck. This isn't where he's really at his prime, but, sometimes you got to pay to win with the pocketbook. And, say no rares today. We got a common, and we're taking it while we can. All right. Well, yeah, I mean, this came together reasonably. It's a little... It's a little half-assy. We didn't really get to dive in on any of the themes. It's kind of borderline puff cap deck / good cards deck, but I think this is like a good base. The thing that's kind of awkward is if we would want to just like pick up more Caitlyns, or basically like what do we do if Draven shows up in champion pick 3 and 4, because we didn't go like full in on the scrap heap kind of aggressive discardy theme, but Draven's probably just better than Caitlyn anyways, since we're not like heavily into the puff caps. Here we'll keep everything. There's an argument to get rid of this Trifarian Hopeful, but just like even if we don't get to play him until like turn 5 or turn 6, if we get to say play Thorn of the Rose and Trifarian Hopeful in the same turn, that's still a pretty strong turn 5. Alright, Gearhead, get in there. Not going to open. The Sting Officer should be able to attack the majority of the time here. And then if they play like a Bandle Commando, I'm happy to trade off with the Commando given the option. Cool. Is this the non-bow of the day, putting the flashbang traps in against the Crimson Disciples? I think it's fine. I mean, I'd prefer to get like a little bit more value, or have at least a more puff cap heavy deck before adding the Investigator. But I also need a kind of tradable unit here. Okay, may just want to stop here. Let's see what they add. I'm fine with all these trades. Okay. He's got a non-boa, so we're gonna flashbang out the Disciple here. Got it. Look at that. Look at that. He got us good. Now we're out here trying to play Kimpunk Shredders into this thing. Okay, not ideal, but we'll get up to having good attacks next turn. What up? Not a bad set of puff caps there. Okay, and then, I mean, realistically, he's going to want to block our 5-2 with his Balladeers, so I'm just going to attack with everything. If he wants to get nugged for 5, I'm pretty okay with it. Got it. Oh man, these are the traps of the day. Well, let's add the Thorn of the Rose. She can give the Shield Breaker some fits here. All right, we just have to reguile. We don't have to. We can add Sump Dredger. I like this. We got big attacks next turn. We can shred this thing out, the Shield Breaker out again, and looks good. Okay. All right, yeah, come on, bud. We're doing battle and stuff. All right, no, it's on us. Not a bad spot here. There is. Getting the kitty up here. You got to get your priorities right. All right. So I mean, this is just another open. I'm looking, or just another attack here. I'm looking to coup de grace this shield breaker. That should get us the full damage in with our elephant as well. Right, he's going to put the Thorn of the Rose down here. We get the coup de grace, get the full 6 damage in. That's a lethal. That's a lethal in the bud. Go us. That was like the highest of high rolly flashbang traps, though. I don't expect too much better than that the rest of this trial. That was pretty good. All right, the Caitlyn here looks good with the 2 sets of puff cap generators. Vi was our option to the right. It's not horrible Vi, but these are just an incredibly good set of Caitlyn cards down here. And so yeah, this lets me kind of like cycle back to the ways that I kind of look at Caitlyn, and it's to where like if this deck, you know, it doesn't have like a whole lot of puff cap generators in it, and so I'd almost rather just be playing Teemo. Since he can be like really super threatening in the early game with them, but if if we have that deck that just has like a ton of puff cap peddlers and puff cap generators, it's like you don't really need Teemo at that point. He does like threaten lethals on occasion, but I typically would rather just have Caitlyn if that's how things are playing out. All right, so what is this? Tristana Darius. Not a huge fan of Ballistic Bot here. Just a little bit too mana intensive. And say I want to look for a little bit more aggressive early game play, but in case that doesn't happen, we'll hang on to the Veteran Investigator. Need so many pets today, bud. So many pets. Okay. So let's see. Like, this spot is kind of tough, right? If he has Vandal Commando, then we would rather just play like Fallen Rider. But if he doesn't have the Commando, if he has literally anything else, we would rather have the Sting Officer. So we'll try the Officer here. Good, good. Get in there. Get those flashbang traps happening. Tristana, he can put the bonus, the +1 attack onto her, but that would be it. The Wardens should shut down everything here. I guess he can still attack with his 2/1s, but Tristana's not attacking. Yep. Okay, and then the rest of these attacks just kind of became not exciting, and so let's just go ahead and attack. Well, no, he's got this good block onto our Patrol Wardens as well. All right. Feels like a Mystic Shot turn. We're never going to Mystic Shot Tristana, so we can at least take down the Yordle Squire. That would be good. Okay, well, we're gonna have to switch ourselves over to this just never trading game plan. It's a big play in the tenor of terror. Right, so I mean, we can't block Tristana. Ugh. That's annoying. We're gonna lose our Sting Officer. Caitlyn come. Oh no, can't. It's actually kind of tempting just to throw Caitlyn down in front of the officer, but all right. Not horrible. We just need to start hitting on some of these flashbang traps. Wear this board out. Okay, so let's trade everywhere we can. Do we even care about hanging on to the Patrol Wardens? Like, I would rather probably just be attacking with the Fallen Rider. Casey has Group Shot. Let's put the big blocker in front of his Tenor of Terror. Okay. Bank it up. All right, Caitlyn, let's get these traps in the deck, and then hopefully we can start wearing out some of their board. Okay. Works for me. Then if we need something like discardable, we still have Chump Wump in our hand, and so I'm just going to be as mana efficient as we can here. I'm going to go ahead and Mushroom Cloud. Gonna play the Veteran Investigator. And then we'll have the 3 spell mana banked up. Okay. Caitlyn flips into a removal spell, which could be interesting here as well. Got our glorious answer to Tristana and Weapons of the Lost. That could be quite good. Weapons of the Lost, it looks like he's just going to open on us, but the Weapons of the Lost Mystic Shot would have been nice. All right. Work, please. Okay. So we don't take any more damage, which is the important part here. Slow down on these investigators now, and we can try and Weapons of the Lost Tryst. We should be in a decent spot. Battering Ram. That's a scary one. Okay. Don't think we have to like lead with Guile against the Ram. Well, I do want to take down the Wrathful Rider here. That's a scarier one. Like if at the end of the day we just trade our Chump Wump for his Trifarian Hopeful and then get to put Shield Breaker in front of Battering Ram, that's not a horrible turn. I don't think we need to shred. Let's go ahead and start doing these. This is going to be like the end of this turn, so let's just go ahead and put the damagers into play. I mean, we got 2 flash bombs. Feels like we ought to have like 30 flash bombs in this deck. All right. All right. All right, my man. You gonna bring any of this thunder? I mean, his only good attack here is the Battering Ram. Right? He doesn't want to attack his Trifarian Hopeful into the Veteran Investigator. You just rage quit on us or something? I don't understand what happened there. I think he disconnected. Nope, he's still here. Okay, let's see if we can't. We're just gonna swing with everything and see if we can't get a big cleanup with the shredder. The Glory Seeker can't block, so. This seems like one of these spots to where you're going to be trying to put like value blocks out with your the likes of your Wrathful Riders. Okay. Alright, so hopefully we're good enough to survive this battering ram. Shredder's been pretty choice today. Okay. Pick up a bit of that card advantage. Some of those cards would be scary, like if he has a like Bandle Gunners or something coming out of the generators, or if he hits a Tenor of Terror, that would be kind of annoying and awkward. Not a bad time for that card. He said, "Watch me generate all the value." Elusive. Are we just dead? Really? Oh, we fought a 1. Okay. Okay, well, let's see. Let's see if we die to a Blade's Edge. Alright, I'm not gonna risk some weirdo spell like the Reckoning coming in and closing out this game. We're just gonna come in and open. Okay. That's close. So let's see. Okay to trade out Roar the Slayer for Sting Officer. It kind of sucks losing out on some of our removal, but this is a fairly weak removal here. I'm a big fan of these Sting Officers in the early game. All right. Battles continue. Yeah, we've been seeing the good Chempunk Shredders. I've always had the kind of ideas with this these Caitlyn decks to where you could be like really aggressive, and then there's you're not really counting on the flashbang traps to kill your opponent's units, but they let your small guys trade up. So it should let if you hit your opponent's 3/3 with a flashbang trap, that lets your clump of wumps get in for damage. Or as we've been seeing with this deck, if you can whittle down their units a little bit, then you can get more clears with the likes of a Chempunk Shredder. So it's nice to see some of these things kind of play out. Cool. Ready for battle. Get all the traps started on turn 3. All right, action. We don't got anything for you just yet. We should have waited on the attack, shouldn't we? That shit's annoying. That was my bad. We knew better than that. Okay, nothing on 3. Interesting. These aren't decks that usually just want to come out here and bank mana. Just have a really awkward draw or something. Days. Okay. I'm gonna like stop playing cards at this point until he attacks. Like I'm okay if he does weird stuff to our clump of wumps, but definitely don't want this to be a turn where they just play like a merciless hunter into our clump of wumps here. That's fine. And I think we're safe to just keep adding units. Let's add in the clump. I want to get these like bad attackers on the board, right? Things that we can just throw at action and hopefully just trade for removal spells. Oh, there goes that plan. It's annoying. All right, well, we still gotta send it in. Draw him a card off of that one. All right. I mean, I'm content with how this is played out. It's just that turn where we let him get the exhaust was particularly painful. We'd be pretty far ahead if we hadn't have played that round poorly. Any of these acceptable blockers, we can get a Sump Dredger down. Okay. No traps. Traps now? Nope. Nope, certainly not. Okay. All right. Well, we can switch over to this ballistic bot. Start churning in some damage that way. We're still not that far. Like action's not super scary at this point. It would be nice if we had Puffcat Peddlers. The Peddlers would play great here, but.
Watch the spiders do their work.
Why do they have so many legs?
The prettier the rose, the sharper the thorns.
Okay, well, action slamming into the Sting Officer is not that big of a deal. The way this would be a problem is if he has like another target, and then he can play the big like vulnerable card. The Shredder's weak here. If he's going to follow up with a vulnerable thing, I think we probably just want to add the chump. He's only going to have one good attack onto it. We can still Mystic Shot here, potentially. The ship has sailed on having a good Guile onto action, though. Yeah, this would definitely like feel winnable if we had the Puffcat Peddlers in our deck, but it just doesn't feel feel winnable when we don't.
Villains beware.
Quick and quiet.
Okay, I think we just got to stop there. And then we'll hang on to the Mushroom Cloud. I don't think we have any discard things left. Doesn't look like we do, but... Alright, well there's our answer to our opponent's 1-drop a million turns later. Their 2-drop, right? He's had action down for 7 turns. Can't really count on winning that game. He's just going to replay another one, isn't he? Okay, sure. Alright, but I think, yeah, if we hadn't just gotten owned by that exhaust on turn 2, then I think we would have been fine. That was a little too sloppy for me. But as far as these go, I'm not opposed to picking up Vi. She's a lot cheaper than the Sion. She plays reasonably well with all of our generated cards. Also not opposed to picking up Decisive Maneuvers. Kind of leaning more towards the maneuvers. It just plays so well with all of our really like turdy early game plays. Just for a big wide attack there at the end of the game. I can get behind that. We used to always like really chase after one copy of Decisive Maneuvers, and I don't say it's like fallen out of favor. It's just it hasn't. It doesn't seem like it's around an expedition as much. I think it got removed from some of the card pools, and then it was never like a high value pick. It was something where we were, happy enough to play like one maneuver, one Shunpo, one intimidating roar kind of card, but they were never like a requirement. Okay. Found us that perfect opponent. Action part 2. Okay. Do something like this. Trifarian's keepable, but I would rather have like a one of our trap generators than him. Cool. All the trap generators are here now.
I smell a rat. Good people don't look the other way.
Okay, then let's see what they do. Like, I don't feel like we need to just Mystic Shot action right off the gates. Okay. Works for me.
From the Undercity shift, Detective Zane?
It's all in the report, Sheriff. Should pay off nicely. Cool eye badge.
You like it? I mean, shut up and fight!
All seems good. Now we get a little bit of protection for our Caitlyn with these burn spells on the attack. Quite good. That's lame. What a lame-o this guy is. Well, they gotta kill off action before he grows. All right, all the traps. Get them loaded up.
Rob 'em blind.
city shift, Detective Zane?
It's all in the report, Sheriff. Should pay off nicely.
So many Sting officers. Get ready for it, Bruce. Oh, these traps ready to come down.
I smell a rat.
Ready. I'm ready to roll the dice. Those dice are gonna roll high. Okay.
Keeping pace, giving chase.
Okay. Well, I think I'm good to just add the veteran investigator. It's a reasonable blocker here. And then we'll get to bank up fully for this Weapons of the Lost next turn. 9 flash bombs. Feels like it should be about 1,000. Right around 1,000. This LeBlanc's fairly ignorable. I mean, we'll block her, but without having Overwhelm, it's not that big of a deal. It's less awesome. Oh, okay. Interesting. I thought he was going to take our 3-2, so we would have to either choose the big boy or a Sting officer to put in front of LeBlanc. Interesting. We'll never be able to attack through this board, though, so let's go ahead and just get an attack in. Is this like a Whirling Death or something? Bloody business? Oh no, we aren't letting that stuff happen. Oh no, this can only hit followers? If. Stupid card. Alright, whatever. Whatever. He's gonna hit Overwhelm on LeBlanc, isn't he? He didn't snap it off. That's a bonus, I think. Was that like +1/+1? Sure. Sion, ready to close it out. Oh man, let's get this Sion down and just throw him in front of LeBlanc. Is that the way things are going to go today? Alright. Alright, ready to block. I know he's got this challenger up here, but I think this is good. Said, oh shit, that is the biggest of boys. So dude got a furnace in his stomach? Uh-oh. Oh, noes. That gives us the rally, though. I mean, that's a slow spell. Interesting choice. We might be able to just coup de grace anything he puts in front of Sion. Well, that's neg 1. I don't believe that does anything. Nice. I don't feel like we deserved that one, but all your wins aren't well deserved. Nice. So let's see. We're just adding in more Caitlyn's. I think I'm okay with that. Not really excited about Officer Squad, but whatevs. None of these other ones look too appealing, anyways. All right, Caitlyn. Let's get going. Get them stretches in. We're ready. We hydrated. We stretched. We're beyond the third win. Ready for action here. Glad to see Sion come down and win that game. That's the things Darius doesn't do, right? Darius definitely doesn't win the game there. It's wild. Okay, Aurelian Soul. We haven't seen you in years. Literal years since we've seen Aurelian Soul. All right, I could see something like this. Not too many blockers out of Targon PZ for Fallen Rider. You gonna drop Zoe on us?
Here's where I'd paint my constellation.
This card's Dragon's Clutch. Interesting. I wonder if he was just stuck with it. You definitely know dragons in Piltover.
Sion taught me to never let my guard down.
Plug and play.
Surprise.
Okay. Shuffling away all our traps. Who knows where our traps are anymore? Nice little curve we've assembled here today. It's annoying. You are annoying, trickster.
I stand for Noxus.
Alright, well maybe we'll be able to get an attack in here. Bex. That makes us stop. Alright. Fine, dude. Be lame. Right? Right, that's what opponents do in here. Just being lame. Let's bank. Alright. We can get this dum-dum off the board now.
Back in the game.
It's tempting to just, like, shuffle it away. Like, take a hit from Echo, shuffle away this trickster. And then have a big attack next turn. I think I like this.
Tough places breed tough people.
We'll just attack with everything. If he wants to get the value block onto Armed Gearhead, that's okay. If he wants to come in and just take the 9 bomb. Good deal, good deal.
These coming.
Always feels like these only put like 1 in. It feels like we should have 1,000,000 traps at this point. Every time it feels like 1,000,000.
Affirmative. Ready to breach.
Well, pretty good board. He is doing dragons. Alright, well, I'd assume he just drew Aurelian Soul. So we're going to have to end the game before that becomes a thing. But his board isn't improving this turn.
Open heart, greet the night.
Well, if he doesn't attack, we're not really losing out on much here, right? We're just missing putting down the rider on top of the gearhead. It's not a big deal.
Plug and play.
I assume we'll get a reasonable amount of cleanup work done with the Chempunk Shredder here.
You were misguided.
Takes him to 7.
After them.
After 'em.
We want to make him draw the cards. Does it even do anything? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Or 2, 4, 6. We only got 7 flash bombs in deck. Not a lot. I've done the mathematics on if it's a lot. It's not. Alright, let's end here. Oh, vision? Ah, F. That's bad. Don't know if we can beat a Golden Sister. He's just going to be able to gain an actual million this turn. I would assume he took the lifesteal weapon to put onto Involus Fox.
It is time.
Well, we drew Sion, which is always big potential. Interesting. Fall to 2, that's probably a little bit too scary. Sting Officer's not doing anything the rest of the game. Okay. So what's his angle here? Is he just gonna try and like 3 damage a unit? I think that's okay. Yep. Okay. So yeah, so now we can add Sion and then play a Vision in combat. We gotta hope that's enough. May have just changed my mind now that we picked up Thorn of the Rose and we can stun one of their units. Like if each plays Aurelian Soul here. Yep, perfect. Fix the bug. Fix the bug, Riot. Oh my god. OMG. This bug's been here for literally years. Alright. This game's done.
Sharper the thorn.
That should do it. Give us that Scion back. Aurelian Soul does not like to battle Scion. I can assure you. That is not positive. Nice. We have to watch the animation. It's a scary one. keep them scary animations out of here. Alright, cool. So what do we got? Getting rid of Assessor is great. We just don't have the deck designed to take advantage of this thing. And picking up a removal spell in the process is quite good. Like these guillotines definitely get activated by our flashbang traps. So, nice. Interesting. P&Z Allegiance. Well, this is like the lowest quality curve we could assemble, right? We got the 1 we don't want, the 2 we don't want, and the 3 that is fine, but just no way to activate it. Is what it is. We're not complaining about having a 1, 2, 3. Well, we're gonna complain about it, but let's be real. We're definitely gonna complain about it. Good trade if he comes in. And then, I mean, we have There's no reason to discard Mushroom Cloud here, so we'll play the Sump Dredger and discard the Fallen Rider. We may not get to attack with our Gearhead this turn, but he's got the potential for a boost up in the cloud, and the P and Z units are also small. He's gonna be like a reasonable attacker at some point.
Nothing's more exciting than an unsolved mystery. A missing piece? Hot on the trail.
Okay. There's all the stats. So I think we're safe to play Caitlyn here since we have the Mystic Shot in hand as well. Okay. It's like I saw it come down and like, no, don't kill her. Don't kill our Gearhead. Timer? Okay.
Time's over. Oh dear.
That's danger, my friend. That's danger. What's he got? He's definitely got a Mushroom Cloud. I think we have to spend the Mystic Shot. There's a lot. If he has like Death Rays or something, it's quite bad, but it's worse if he just gets to untap with Heimer. Yeah. Oh, Trail of Evidence. Okay. Dang. So I thought the Death Ray was going to be it. Okay. Good turn. Good turn. Nice work, squad. See him deploy all these 1 health units, and then you gotta immediately check your flashbang count. I mean, it's not good against the turret, but okay. Big draw on the elephant should shut down all his attacks. And I think we just have to open here. Yeah, I don't want him like adding flame chompers to the board. So if we trade this 4/1 for his Boom Baboon, that's acceptable. Okay. Then we still have the Mushroom Cloud if we need to boost the Gearhead. Rip Caitlyn? Rip indeed. Okay. So do we just want to add our big boy or our 2 littles here? I think we can safely just add our 2 littles. Try and get wide on him. Not really opposed to just spewing off all these puff caps next turn. Let's see. I think we definitely have the advantage here. Welcome back, Caitlyn. You left us for so long. Okay. So I'm just gonna add the squad and stop until they attack. I don't like we have a lot of very good cards for the next turn. I just want to wait and see what happens. Okay, he's tapped out now. Shredder's not spectacular, so Caitlyn will be fine.
Not by a long shot.
Okay, well, we can't lethal him here, but we're definitely sending in the squad. Should just ace his whole team. It's not bad, right? Just ace their whole board, keep 4 units on our side. What are we losing? Nothing we can do about that combat, right? Right. It's like the value in me wants me to just most wanted ourselves, but I have to imagine like the only way we ever lose this game is just by taking a bunch of puff cap damage, and so I'm just gonna hold back on the most wanted. Let's do this. Let's add 2. So if he plays it on us, then we'll just be discarding a Mushroom Cloud. We're giving ourselves a bit of opportunity to get in an incidental damage. Because we don't have any Puff Cap Peddlers, so we don't have to just hold on to the clouds. I think that's good. Help us level up our Caitlyn. I don't think that's ever going to be relevant this game, but... Okay, got him.
I must say, a satisfactory outcome.
That was a satisfactory outcome. Good job, squad. What do we got here? Sion, you've been too good. I don't want to get rid of you anymore. Let's hang on to everything here. The Scorched Earth just plays quite well with the Flashbang theme, and then the Roar of the Slayer. I haven't really been like developing these boards to where it should be good. Like that, this is a card that I think should be pretty good in these matchups, right? If you should be able to find yourselves to where you're just going wide on your opponent. They make a bunch of trades and blocks and stuff, and then you're still getting wider than them because your stuff's all cheap. But then they get to the point of the game where they just have to play a 5-drop, and then they spend all 5 of their mana for your 3. It just helps you get wider, but we haven't really developed any board. Excuse me, developed any boards like that. Maybe it's because we just don't have the quick attackers, but. All right. Rehydrate, restretch. Get ready for this. Alright, Fizz. Hope you're ready for the flashbang traps. Alright, well, not a great start. But it's got a 2-drop in it. Yeah, can't ask for much more than that. We could try and play our 8-mana Weapons of the Lost onto Fizz. See how that goes. I can assure you it goes poorly. Okay. I'm just going to start out with the Fallen Rider here. It's going to take us too long to try and discard it. It should be good on essentially every board that they have. The Make It Rains would be kind of scary, but as far as units are concerned, it's going to be as good as it gets here.
Looking for a hero for my hero.
Well, what have we here?
Okay, if he like Yordle swords his Squire and attacks, I'm fine with just throwing the Fallen Rider in front of it. There's not a lot we can do about him, right? He's just going to be able to block it next turn.
So shiny, it's gotta be way strong.
Yeah. All right, this is slightly awkward in that, like, Trifarian's our only good unit here, but he can't block next turn. Then we don't want to block with Caitlyn next turn. Kind of interested in just leaving him behind. Let's just swing with Caitlyn. Oh no, how bad is this? I'll just draw some cards. Okay. That's not bad. It is pretty tempting to just to bank the mana, though. Let's do this. Let's add the Investigator. Ooh. Get Punk Shredder. Mm. That's the stuff right there. Rip Fizz. Alright, if this is successful, this game has to be done. I can assure you this is not a good spot to be in. Well, these Nami decks, though, they can do a bunch of weird shit where they just drop a bunch of elusives on you and kill you. And so I don't want to say that it's over just yet, but we're in just such a commanding position. We're going to add the Terfarian team. We've got the coup de grace for next turn if we need to actually return one of their elusives. This is all looking strong. Okay. Striking our Caitlyn, that's mean. That's mean, dude. Alright. Be like that. So what do we got? We got a 7 mana do nothing. Tidal Wave deals 1 and 1. Okay. Do we ever have to care about that? Well, I'm going to start with the Investigator. Not exactly sure what that means. Could be a little risky giving him the access to the tidal waves, but I wanted to make sure that we can add to the board and then still be able to play coup de grace. Just want to spew these mushroom clouds off. I like it. This game's not going to last much longer. Okay, they're drawing cards. This has to be great. Getting all them puff cap damages. So many traps. So many traps. Uh-oh. -5. Alrighty. Final battle time it is. Okay, let's see how many times it tries to make us trade away Sion. Let's see. Okay, so this is an upgrade from the Hopeful to the Glory Seeker. Let's take a peek at that one. Hexcore Foundries would be medium. We don't have a deck like really designed for it. Whenever I like the Hexcore Foundry decks, it's like when we're drafting Teemo. And we like really go out of our way to not draft anything that costs more than 3, unless it's like Chump Wump or an Epic. We don't have that deck here today, so I'm not really excited about the Foundry. The Fallen Reckoner is kind of interesting, but I don't want to trade out one of our very few 1-drops for it. So let's just add in the Glory Seeker up here. Don't want the Technician or the Foundry. We'll skip over those. The Whirling Death is interesting. Our removal is fairly non-existent. It's such a high value card to be discarding in the Sump Dredger. I think we're good to pick up the 1 removal here. That kind of sucks. I'd like to get rid of our less important cards for that. Here, trading out Vision is fine. We can't quite take advantage of it. Here's our chance to trade out Sion. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to hang on to our 1 copy. I will pick up Sting Officer, though. This is just a high quality 2-drop. Last one. I have 1 Guillotine. That's enough. Decisive Maneuver. We already have our 1 copy of. I think I do want more Sting Officers, though. We have the 1 Guillotine to make up for that that one that we that 1 Scorched Earth. And here, let's hang on to R1. Don't want Minotaur Reckoner and don't want Foundries. So, all right. Ready for the battles. Ooh. So not bad, not bad. Nice little Chempunk Shredder deck. Putting in the work. Now we just got to find that perfect opponent. And I gotta eat some food. Bust be getting hungry out here. If we lose, that's why. I should have just canceled the match and ate a sandwich. Refuel my brain power. The perks of not playing live card games. Man, that was always wild. Like whenever I'd go and play Magic tournaments, it's like you always had to take like giant bottles of water, and you had to take like I would always take like breakfast bars. You gotta have food. I'd try to eat a breakfast bar after every round. It's so easy just to go like 6 and 7 hours playing 45-minute rounds and just not eat anything. And then at the end of the day, you're just dead. All right, back to the action here. I think I'm good to just hang on to the clump. I'd rather be finding our Sting officers and our Caitlyn's. They don't seem like super exciting against a Shyvana, but I think we probably do want our early game elusives here. And we got a 1-drop on a Sting officer. Not much more we could ask for out of a mulligan. Okay, I'm not going to open. There's a very good chance they just play like the 1-3 here, so our attack with Stinky Wump is good. But at the end of the day, if we're getting 2 damage in, we want the Flash Bomb to do it. And then in a world like this where they don't have a play, or if their play is like the 3-2s, the 3-2 Challenger, whatever, then it's just so much better in this space. Okay, I'll pass. We're going to end up in the same spot if he just passes back to us. He'll still have the unit, but we weren't going to have the Sting officer on board.
News from the Undercity shift, Detective Zane?
She may not be able to attack. If they have a Shyvana here, then it shuts down our Caitlyn, but this will be okay. And then if he like blocks and plays single combat or something, then kind of whatever. Perfect. Get them damages in. Ooh, Whirling Death. Well, we're a little short of doing good Whirling Death work, but it's okay. Interesting. Well, I think we can still get wider than them. I think we just the 2 things. Well, Guillotine's interesting. I don't think we're going to use it here. I think we want to add Shredder, and this leaves us open to Whirling Deaths now. But let's see what they spend. I'm not like completely opposed to just playing a Guillotine on something. I don't think we need to though. Let's see, play like 6/6 Dragon here.
Scoping the area.
That feels like a concerted strike. Back to back. Do we even care? I mean, we can like say Whirling Death, the Dragon Guard, and then have our Guillotine for next turn. I think I like that a little bit more. And then if we're going to be Whirling Deathing, this is a little dangerous Whirling Deathing with the Caitlyn. The 2 traps just can't be worth it, right? Let's use the big unit. If he has, you know, like the Radiant Strike to give the Dragon Guard +1/+1, Just being cutesy with the strike doesn't seem that good. This seems like a fantastic spot for us, though. We can't do all of that. Okay. Whatever, he's attacking, let's pass. Get this one. This screeching will take the damage from Caitlyn, then we can guillotine it post-combat, and then also get the clump of wumps on the board. Okay. Alright, we'll play some attackers it is, I guess. Getting there. We're getting there. You are interesting, Armored Elephant, but this feels like a turn where he's just going to like block and play Concerted Strike. We get big chunks of damage in, and then hopefully we can finish with the Mushroom Clouds. All right, load him up. Get him in there. The Mushroom Clouds primed and ready. He's just going to draw one, isn't he? Just right off the gates, right off the bat. Mushroom Cloud drawn. Captain Farron. Dang, dude. There it is. Boop. Nice. Nice. Sweet little trial we got together here. So let's get this pulled up, and we can talk about it a little bit more. So yeah, like I've still I don't want to say that like there's not the complete puff cap build around, right? It's just it feels really awkward to me to kind of explain it that way, right? As to where if we're building around puff caps, we don't want Teemo, but if we are building around puff caps, then we want Caitlyn. I don't think that's like always the case or 100% the case, but it just feels to me like in these decks to where we have the puff cap peddler built around, we just don't need Teemo. He's a nice to have, but not a requirement. But I think I prefer like Caitlyn in that space. Whereas if we don't have the puff cap peddlers, then we would kind of prefer to have Teemo since he's just like a much more threatening unit. I don't know. I've kind of thought about that with the last trial and with this one, because it's like, what do you do if you take Teemo first and Caitlyn second, or Caitlyn first, Teemo second, and then you have to kind of decide which to build around. It just feels like Caitlyn is the much safer option if you have the puff cap generation. And then if you don't have it and you need to just like hard swap into being like the super aggressive deck, then Teemo plays a little bit better. Teemo's also just like a little bit scarier now in the format, with there just being like an actual million Bandle commandos running around. He's just having your Teemo get shut down by Bandle commando is awful. It might just be, at least until the appearance bonuses fall off, it may just be better to not have Teemo given the option. But nonetheless, these decks still do build into kind of a few distinct archetypes. We kind of landed in what was meant to be a scrap heap deck. It didn't quite come together. This just became more of a P and Z aggro good cards deck, which is fine. But if you're familiar with our work, I really do prefer to have a more of a cohesive strategy than good cards. We did start to get the Flash Bomb Caitlyn plus card draw together. but I think that that wasn't like fully fleshed out. But that's the strategy we'll talk about as far as this deck being, since we have like a few things that happen with that, right? The kind of on the global scale, like how do we take advantage of a flashbang trap is a legitimate question to ask, because they're kind of hard to really do anything with. You're not really killing off your opponent's units with flashbang traps unless they're 1-drops or 1 health units, I should say. And so if we are just going to, deal 1 damage to our opponent's 3/3 or their 4/4, then how do we take advantage of that? And the ways that we look at it are, you have your quick attackers like Caitlyn, and so if your opponent has a 4/4, you turn it into a 4/3. Caitlyn can attack now unimpeded, and so that is thing number one. Would be quick attackers. We would love to find things like Academy Prodigy, the 3/1 quick attacker out of PNZ, because those themes play well together. Thing number two is allowing your typically like small value units to attack up. And so if our opponent has a 3/3, it takes damage. That lets our clump of lumps attack into combat now. That is idea number two. And then the last thing would be just some kind of like damage source. Chempunk Shredder being one of the main ones, one of the big AoEs. And so if our opponent, their units get shrunk a little bit, or the way that we used to historically play the Chempunk Shredders, we're making all of these attacks with the clump of lumps. Our opponent gets a big bunch of value blocks, so they have like 2 and 3 1-health units, and then you clean out all those 1-health units with the Chempunk Shredder. That does kind of tie back into the flashbang trap mechanic, and so I think that's really what you're looking for in kind of this flashbang deck is the really aggressive early game plays, the quick attackers, and then a way to clear the board afterwards, and that can be knocks and guillotines, Chempunk Shredders, just any kind of AoE or the damage based cards like Scorched Earth. And so that was the deck that we mainly assembled here. This is a little good cards decky, a little more good cards decky than I preferred, but that kind of idea was here. As far as the other decks go, if you're drafting the Puffcap deck, you want 3 Puffcap Peddlers. You don't want any cards that cost more than 3, unless those cards generate Puffcaps or they're powerful epics like Karina. And then I was going to think, the Scrap Heap deck. That didn't quite come together here. That's what we thought we would be able to piece together with the Sion. But you could see some of the synergies and the strategies that come together with the Puffcap generation and the discard cards, right? As you can see right here in the 2-drop space, the Clump of Lumps with Grave Physician. We were using the Sump Dredger that we eventually traded away. Just any of these things that want you to discard a card, being able to discard Mushroom Clouds is pretty good. And so that would be kind of like deck number 3 that you're able to try and piece together out of these. And so as far as all of this goes, I think you'll probably end up in Puffcap or in the Traps deck if you don't find a good pairing, right? So if we start with Caitlyn and then pick up a Jinx or a Draven, we can go into discard. You can also try it with Sion. That was our idea here, but we didn't really fully chase after it. If you find a Teemo, then you can go full in on the Puffcaps. If you find a reasonable elusive Bilgewater champion like Fizz or Nami, or if you find some of the elusives out of Ionia, like if you find a Zed, then you can go after elusives that way with the Sting Officers. Lots of different decks you can do here, and so I think like kind of the standing statement here would be just kind of like don't pigeonhole yourself into a deck with your first couple of picks, right? We did intend on kind of drafting towards Sion and Scrap Heap. The cards didn't come together, and so how did we kind of course correct? It was being this really aggressive Traps deck. So, not bad. Fun little trial. I think we have a handful of rewards to click on, so let's see what's showing up out here. Oh, we got the Prismatic Tristana. Didn't even have to pay for it. That's how you win the pay-to-win. The pay-to-win strategies right there. This is it, man. We are done with the event pass. There's going to be fewer and fewer rewards for all y'all out there. What is this? Looks like we maxed out our Bandle City chest as well. Man. All right. Well, we did it. Just no more rewards for you all. Deal with it. All right. the final one, the diamond chest. I think there's still other regions we have to go through on the reward road. I don't think we cleared them all out. It seems like we did like Shurima, and then it switched us over into Bandle City, and so I think it'll at least drop us back into some of the other factions. I'm pretty sure we haven't done all the factions at this point. Yeah, see, we got stuff in here for Noxus and team. So there is that. Looks like we got a loot out here as well. Some kind of prismatic chest. Ooh, the upgrade. Alright, and so, man, this one's unfortunate. This is really tough to decide, right? Because the Strafing Strike is the best card out of all these, but the Fresh Offerings puts the unit on the board. I can't do it. I got to take the Strafing Strike. It's an actual playable card. And some Essence. Alright, well, that is going to do it for us today. So I hope you all enjoyed the trial. You learned how to set your flashbang traps a little bit better. Maybe you learned a thing or two along the way and had a good time watching. This is Bust, and we thank you for being here.